press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from Newslaundry.
This is a Newslaundry podcast and you're listening to Highway on My Podcast with Rocky, Mayur and Abhinandan.
Hi, this is Aditya, the producer for Highway on My Podcast. Since the time we've recorded this episode, Odisha has been ravaged from Cyclone Amphan, and it needs your help. The Newslaundry and Homp team extend our deepest sympathies to the survivors. We would like to urge you, our listeners, to help in whatever way you can. We have listed a few websites where you can donate in the description of this episode. If you can't access it from your app, do visit newslaundry.com and find it on our podcast page. We hope that after listening to this podcast, you're reminded of how rich and vibrant the Odia land and the people are. Open your hearts up to it and donate whatever little you can.
We're back!
We're hungry!
And we are back on Highway on My Podcast with the two biggest men in Indian food and travel, Rocky and Mayur, joining us.
Yeah!
Balo, ekdam balo!
Prashant Sareen, director, producer extraordinaire. My name is Abhinandan, co-director and co-producer of many shows that we have done with these two fatties together. And my hair has grayed and my झुर्रियां आ गई हैं मेरी शक्ल पर. लेकिन अब हम आप लोगों को हाईवे पे ले जाएंगे. But today we are taking you to Odisha. I don't know any Odisha word to show off. Can one of
Odisha, Odia, Chena Poda, Chena Gaja.
Chena, there was something else, Chena, whatever Chena.
Rasgulla.
Oh, dude, the bongs have just tuned off. They've all said, okay, we're not listening to this anymore.
No, listen, there are two geographic indications. They've got one for the Rasgulla, and then 2 years later, the people of Odisha got their wish. And so there's a Odia Rasgulla that has also got a geographic indicator. So we're all good. We're all happy.
Now everyone is happy.
Yes.
So in Odisha, we shall take you to, of course, one of the finest dhabas the fish-eating men have ever been to, and they will not stop talking about it. We'll have to drag them out of that kicking and screaming. We've been there several times. We will take you to Puri. We will take you to the Jagannath Yatra, which has been one of the most challenging shoots we've ever done. We will take you to the land of the olive ridley turtles. We will take you to Bhubaneswar, Balasore, Cuttack, everywhere, man. But first, let's start off with the beautiful, stunningly peaceful, punctuated by little bits of cannon firing, which is a place called Gopalpur on Sea. Yes, that's the full name, Gopalpur on Sea. Why is it called Gopalpur on Sea, Mayur?
There's a little head. It has a beach, and right off the beach, there's an ocean.
Yeah, if the village was underwater, it'd been called Gopalpur in the sea. Because it's not underwater, it's called Gopalpur on Sea. And it has one of the most eerie approaches as you drive to the beach. On your left-hand side is this beautiful mansion that has fallen in disastrous disrepair. And outside there is a plaque that says, once happy people lived over here, and some really depressing shit written on it. Yeah, it's very scary.
A missile fell on it.
Is the photograph which you've taken like through an arch and the blue sky at the background?
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, that place is definitely haunted, man. But listen, that Gopalpur on Sea is a really quaint, beautiful, pretty old town with nothing to do, nowhere to go, and nothing to eat. But it is a lovely place.
It has a very nice pawn shop though, which was shut on the day that we were there. But the most scenic view pawn shop in the country.
Yeah, it was very chilled. Yeah? I remember we went for the walk on that promenade where they had all these little shacks and carts selling food. And remember there they had Mathura cakes, like fried balls of dough with a little bit of fruit inside. And then they were rolling it in powdered sugar and you could just take bites of it. And he was making them hot. How can you forget that?
I'm glad you remember the walk, because I'm sure the people there will remember the walk you took, because you took that walk without your pants. And I have a photograph of
No, I don't remember.
Your pants got wet. So I have a photograph of you with your pants drying where the mermaid would have had legs, and you stand kachas. And I don't know if those people of Gopalpur have ever outlived that trauma.
Oh, that's the pawn shop actually. That's the pawn shop with the mermaid sort of poster outside.
Yeah, but listen, if you guys ever go down to Gopalpur, there's lots of really nice places to go and live over there. But you'll have to eat in those resort kind of places. Don't come out to the beach to eat, because they have these 4-5 stalls that have hung out fish that they caught last week and dried in the sun with masalas on it, hanging. And you can buy either those fish or these Mathura cakes that Mayur is talking about. Don't let him make you believe that it's anything special. It's just a guy frying bread on the corner.
Fried bread with sugar, how can you go wrong with that? Tell me one person who would not like deep fried dough with sugar in it. It's practically the national dish of many countries.
Yeah, the beach is very stunning. The beach is exceptional.
Yes,
And
it has a
beautiful
wonderful
green,
name.
sea green water, sort of, the
It's
waves
lovely.
coming.
It's lovely. But this fried bread has a beautiful name in Paris. It's called churros bien chaud.
Yeah, I remember when we went for the award ceremony for our book, and we were doing a shoot, and then we saw this. That's what it said. We were very amused.
Prashant,
Yeah.
tell us, why does the peaceful Gopalpur on sea, as you're staring out into the endless crystal blue and green ocean, do you keep hearing ta, ta, ta?
Well, the DRDO has a testing facility on one of the islands off the coast from where they fire missiles.
And what is the
So-
DR?
Acha, I thought you said tasting for a second. I was wondering why they're firing food.
The Defense Research Development Organization.
Let's see how far this samosa can fly. Boom.
So they have a testing facility. So the ta you keep hearing are probably they're testing some cannons or missiles, or maybe someone's eaten too much seafood. But that's all we have to say about Gopalpur on sea, because there's not much else there. But it is a very beautiful and calm place.
So, ladies and gentlemen listening in, if by chance you are a fisherman in Gopalpur on sea, remember to have very close ties with the DRDO and their shooting and missile firing program into the ocean. Because if you go out on the wrong day, more than your fish will be cooked instantly.
with Agni.
With Agni.
But more importantly, you don't have to be friends with them, though they're friendly people. Actually, they're not so friendly. They want to keep you away. But they put out a public notice before they fire anything into the sea. Yeah? So the fishermen are well informed.
But what about 1st of April? Like, do they tell people, they're like, Aaj kuch nahi hoga, they go, April Fool.
Yeah, but these are incredible because you can hear the launch of the weapon, you can hear the boom.
Yeah.
And then there's like silence for like 7-8 seconds, and then far away out in the ocean, you hear the report.
Now let's move to Barkul, a dhaba where I used to just sit and watch, because I have a severe seafood allergy, and there it is basically just prawns and crab and fish crawling all over. It is this big ass dhaba which serves the biggest ass prawns and the biggest ass crab. And this was the place where I had the biggest problem in trying to tell Prashant, bhai, tu director hai, unko plate lagane de, shot lene de, फिर टूट पड़ी हो, हाँ एक और प्लेट आ जाएगी. तो हम वेट करते रहते थे, कभी प्लेट लगती नहीं थी क्योंकि शॉट लेने से पहले उसमें से 2-4 झींगड़ गायब हो जाते थे. Now tell us, is it the best you have?
What is this jhingar? What are these words you keep throwing into the
Jhinga, not
middle of
jhingar.
everything?
Yes, साला वो तो झींगड़ ही लगता था मुझे.
Jhingar is the land of the Jhingas.
बहुत बढ़िया जगह है यार वो. I mean, it's really, it's the place to
वहाँ
stop
जाती.
on that highway.
It's the place. I walked in and I saw the seafood, and my lips automatically burst into song. Odia, churana mera jiya, Odia. 300, there was for 300 rupees, you can have a 2 kilo crab, and I'm not kidding, like a whole masala crab, or you can have 10 whole big prawns for 150 rupees, like giant prawns as big as your fist. If you're a normal human being, slightly smaller than mine, slightly bigger than Abhinandan and Mayur's brain combined together. That's brilliant. And each bite is succulent because it's just from the Chilika lake, which is like, you can see it from the
I mean,
place. And
you just cross the road and it's Chilika Lake. So
Yeah,
they'll
but-
get their food from there.
You just cross the road and there's Chilika Lake, and we did this really fantastic sequence there where the train comes because there's a bridge over the lake or something somewhere there.
that's what I'm saying. What a location. Everybody has to stop there.
Yeah.
In one of our later trips to Odisha, we also spent the night at that resort, Kello, Jobi Kello, that wannabe resort at Chilika, which is beautiful because it's by the lake, but don't expect much from the resort itself. But this place has the biggest prawns, and there's no separation from where you eat and where the kitchen is. It's like this one big tambu, and everyone is cooking and eating on these, these pattas where people put. There are no tables and chairs as such.
And at
No,
the
and
back,
they had 5 or 6 cooks. I remember they had a full-on operation going.
Right.
5 or 6 really busy people. And it wasn't just the seafood, Niku. You don't remember? It was one of the softest, nicest paneer tikkas I've ever had. They didn't have that traditional tandoori masala on it. It was just almost like malai. Yeah. And I know all you guys are giggling in this.
Poor
About like,
chap.
हमने बोला prawn, तुम बोलता है paneer. यार बड़ा अच्छा था, बहुत अच्छा. And Their dalma was also very nice. They had like really nice hot tandoori rotis coming out. It was fantastic food.
Yeah.
But the place is like it's like the French version of an open kitchen. You walk inside, there are 2-3 parallel kitchens, one on the side, one on the other side.
Right.
Beautiful, fresh sea catch lying in buckets of water alive. And you just go and point it out and they serve it to you. It is quite remarkable. Way ahead of its time.
And like those fancy restaurants where you can go and pick out your own live crab and then see it cooked right in front of you. So at the back, they have these big tanks full of flowing water and fresh water sort of flowing through them. And they've got these crabs and, all kind of fish and all swimming in those tanks. So you can go point the one that you want and they'll pull it out for you and cook it right in front of you. So it's a pretty interesting place to stop and very good food. I thought it was really good.
Didn't we take a boat ride out into the Chilika thing? We went to this island that has this one mandir which has got some story about how somebody got rescued from a storm. We took a boat out and we went, didn't we?
Yes, we did. I remember if you get out there on Chilika Lake, you are likely to find these beautiful white-bellied sea eagles. They nest in these little hilltops of the island or on the islands within and around Chilika Lake. It's a beautiful, magnificent, huge eagle. And you'll see them soaring, and we got some great shots of it while we were going there. So I was very happy when we went to Chilika. I could have stayed there for another few days.
I'm sure you could have. I couldn't wait to get out of there. But from Chilika Lake, the Chilika dhaba. By the way, Chilika Lake is it's got a record, right? The largest saltwater lake in India.
It's the second largest lagoon in the world, and then it's got just huge amounts of just flora and fauna. I mean, Rocky will tell you all about the birds, but just all this prawns, crustaceans, different types of fish. I think they even have dolphins that come in there. So,
but one thing about Odisha that was a revelation to me is that two places that really surprised me. We've heard about food in Tamil Nadu or Bangla food or Punjabi butter chicken, and there are places. Bangalore is famous for its food. Assam was one revelation that fucking Assamese food will kick any food's ass and it's just as good. Other thing is I had never come across an Odia food restaurant, at least for much of my life. And when I went to Odisha, they do an amazing meat curry. And let's head to Puri, because I remember having some amazing mutton curry there. But before we get to the mutton, let's get to the veggie side of Puri. Let's get that out of the way. We shot the Jagannath Yatra. It happens in sometime now only, June, July mein hoti hai. I remember it was so humid. Mari gaye the hum.
July mein, I think. Yeah.
Man, I don't know when it is. I don't remember exactly when, but I can tell you that was, it's hypnotic. Yeah, there are drummers and musicians from all over India who gather there, and there's music playing and, weird like mridangams, like 50 men playing mridangs. There are, dancers, there are different instruments playing. You sort of go into this hypnotic trance and there's all this sort of happy juice flowing in the air. There's like smoke. If you stand around for more than 2 minutes, you get completely high because half the people there are sadhus and they're smoking their chillums on the house. And what an atmosphere it is here. Oof.
And they keep water on the crowd because it's really hot and humid.
Oh, that's the day of the pulling of the thing. Yeah. On the actual, we've already reached the actual yatra, not the day before. Don't you remember? We went like a day before.
They were still making the chariots. We helped lifting the stuff into Balabhadra's chariot.
Correct. They're preparing all that. That's huge. I mean, it's enormous. What else did we, before we get to the actual, when the Juggernaut rolls, what else did we do the day before? We saw all the preparations. There was some rope also being prepared, right? They pull it with. That's specially prepared.
So they have those giant, really, really thick. I mean, like, how thick would you say they are? Half a foot thick?
No. They'd be about 6 inches across here. I mean, in diameter. So they're big ropes, and pretty massive, like as thick as someone's arm. So yeah, maybe bigger than that. Yeah, not as thick as my arm, but probably as thick as Abhinandan's arm. So maybe about 4 inches.
Each of those chariots must weigh what? A few hundred tons here.
But tons, that's a lot of people don't know. That's where the word Juggernaut comes from, because once Jagannath's chariot starts rolling, there are so many people pulling it that it's impossible to stop it. Though now they've devised that brake system that they were testing. Remember when we went there? The chariot is like a huge wooden chariot. It's about 4 or 5 stories high. It's got about 50 priests standing in there chanting and beating drums, and everybody's pulling these ropes that are in the front.
Does the brake actually work?
Well, that's what the guy told us, the interpreter. He said, basically giving you all Ma Behan ki gali, and it's supposed to be a good omen, or it's supposed to be a blessing.
Yeah, he's got a long stick and he's goading everybody to work harder. And those who aren't, he hits them with the stick and abuses their families. But there's a giant log now attached to the front of each chariot. And if they have to stop suddenly, because a lot of people try and commit suicide by coming under the wheel so that they can go straight to heaven.
I think this is the most interesting thing about the chariot. I mean, as a person who loves driving, this break has suddenly intrigued me. And I want to know more about this chariot.
Yeah,
now.
you should. In fact, if you're going to commit suicide, here's my suggestion. You just go and lie down in the area where that whole tree is going to fall. There's a giant tree. They just drop it and the wheel just hits it and stops. You don't even have to go under the wheel now. You can just go in front and the whole giant brake will fall on you and pulp you instantly.
Oh, it's like a choke that falls in front of the chariot wheels.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a big log, which it's like along the length, along the width, and it's by chain. So they just release the chain and it just drops down front like a barrier down on the floor, and the wooden wheels stop. But if you do that, then you'd probably only get halfway to heaven.
Yeah.
Under the wheels is one thing, but just under the log is the other thing. So you have to take your pick.
So it's, I mean, I think if you get a ringside view, there is on the main road where the temple is, where it goes from. I think the legend has it that the Lord Jagannath goes from there to his Mausi's house or his, I don't know.
Yeah, the Mausima temple.
There's a Mausi.
They stop there on the way, but they go to another place. Him with his brother Balabhadra and sister Subhadra.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's quite a spectacle if you want to see one. But that was, on the day of the Jagannath Yatra. But we've also been there when the Jagannath Yatra has not been there. When you can go near the temple behind it, all the shops are open and they have these...
but guys, I want to talk about how we shot the Jagannath Yatra, man. I'll never forget that in my life.
Dude, tell me about it. I was just hoping no one from the crew bloody either comes under the chariot or other people.
Yeah, you had found a water tanker and you were standing on top of it, if I remember correctly.
For a while, but then I was told to get off.
And Mayur and I had got one camera guy, one of our mad camera guys who's willing to do anything, anytime, anywhere. And the three of us ran right in and grabbed the ropes. And we literally carried the cameraman in our lap while dragging the rope. And it was insane. I mean, if you ever see that episode, you'll realize that no one had any control of what's happening there. And thank God no one fell down there. Because, I mean, if anybody had followed in front of us, we would have pulped him. And if we had followed, the people behind us would have pulped us. And the cameraman would have lost the camera and his job and his life. Because there are thousands of people running to pull that rope here. What a spectacle it is.
This particular cameraman tried many times to lose his life on Highway on My Plate. And on Ajay was insane. And I mean, he loved nothing more than lying in front of a moving vehicle. Whether it was a tank or a chariot or whatever it might be.
Yeah, that was a trip. But now the Jagannath area itself, when the Yatra is not there, it's not the Yatra season, it has all these mithai type shops at the back and they sell these sickly sweet things which are bhinnoying with makhis and madhumakhis, and it's pretty covered, and there's cow shit. It's one of the dirtiest temples, and that's a difficult one because a lot of the religious places around the country other than gurdwaras are filthy. Even among those, apparently now they've cleaned it up, so I hear. It was one of the dirtiest places I've visited. And once we went in, the kind of arguments you have with the priests. Acha, if you want to come here, you pay this, I will tell you this. I will tell you your life history. You just want to say, dude, get off my back here. I mind your own business.
But listen, they are behaving the way most visitors to that place expect them to behave. When people like us land up there and we want to film and we have an agenda and we have 2 other places to go to and it's going to be a long day. I mean, it is natural for us to feel annoyed, but they're not doing anything specially there to annoy us. I mean, they're just being themselves. So
they're just annoying anyway.
They're just annoying anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's but
practically a qualificational requirement.
Yeah, it's like I remember that Khaja place that we went to in that side lane.
Yeah.
My God, I've not seen that density of flies.
Yeah,
anywhere else in my life.
In fact, I had the immortal lines of saying, "You must come here and have khaja because 1 billion flies can't be wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah. In case you're wondering what is khaja, it is a sweet there which they make.
Yeah, it's made from wheat flour and mawa, and then it's soaked in sugar syrup, and then you have the gaja also. You have a deep fried version of it also.
Yeah.
So it's basically sweet and crunchy and doughy. They love their dough there.
The khaja actually reminded me a little bit, I mean, if memory serves me right, of, the baklava. it was a layered pastry kind of thing, right? Very thin, crispy, flaky kind of sweet, and dripped in sugar syrup. So it was a little bit like baklava, but minus the refinement of that.
And who knows, that idea could have gone from here to there or come from there to here, because Odisha at the time of the Kalinga Empire had one of the mightiest navies in the world. I mean, they went all the way up to Southeast Asia also, and then they had trade links with the central and the northeast. So who knows? Yeah. We sent the baklava there, or the baklava came from there.
And they just added the pistachios.
You have to remember now, these are very old places, and the menus, the recipes are like hundreds of years old, maybe even thousands of years old.
Correct.
This is what passed for a dessert at one point. Hearty because they've got the wheat and, fried in oil. So they've got the fat, lots of sugar on it. So it's easy to eat, and it would be unusual. I mean, getting sugar wasn't a very easy thing in the old days. A lot of places in India it still isn't. But in the old days, you would be starved for sugar. So coming down to visit the Lord meant that you would get lots of sugar, and that itself would be a memory. I mean, come on, it's a memory for us. Yeah, the amount of sugar we ate. I think we, sort of set ourselves up for diabetes, all of us. Very.
But also, Puri...
But listen, do you remember that the Malai papadi we had there? They had those flat thals from which they were skimming off that thick layer of Malai.
Yeah.
And then they were putting rabdi inside.
Right.
The rabdi had cardamom and cinnamon. And then they were rolling it up like a dosa and then cutting into slices. And Rocky kept, and I was like, I could eat this all day. He's like, okay, let's see how many you can eat. It was heavy, but it was delicious, man.
That's an art. They have these very thin pans of copper, and they put out hot milk on it, and then they take the cream. There's a thick layer of cream that falls on top. I have no idea how heavy that milk must be. I don't know what they do to it, but you got a thick layer of cream. It's like one full round layer, like a thick roti. And then they put rabdi in it, and then they roll it up, and then people like Mayur eat like 20 pieces of it. Man, dude, that was remarkable there.
It was one of the nicest sweets I've eaten, man. It was just so delicious.
Yeah, but I think the nicest thing for me was that temple is breathtaking. Yeah. The Puri Jagannath temple, the sheer scale and the size and the antiquity and the age of it is just shocking. Yeah. I mean, you can't take your eyes off it.
It's also the place beautiful. Where Lord Krishna, or is it Lord Ram? Lord Krishna, I think. Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
He eats there, right? So the food, the chappan bhog of the Jagannath Puri temple is much talked about, and there are no two dishes which are like. So they have like 56 dishes in each meal which are put out for the Lord, and each one different.
And much as we shoot the chappan bhog, I still think the chappan bhog is a myth because they don't let you go. They said you can't even come into the kitchen. Very few people are even allowed to see it, how it's cooked. So Manika, for all you know, they are serving Britannia cakes.
No, they're not. They're not.
God is so secret, yaar. Hame dekhne do, yaar. Why can't you see what is being cooked?
Well, first of all, I must tell you that a lot of temples in Puri, in Odisha, don't allow people to go in unless you're a high caste Hindu. So on a matter of principle, I refuse to go in. And I was like, if my crew can't go in, then I won't go in. And that is true. And then we went and met a wrestler about 2 years ago, and he was shooting there again. I went and asked him, I said, what is this? So he said, these places are run by us. These are not government owned. These are owned by trusts and all that. And these are our rules that we will only let certain people go in and we will not let everyone go. So non-Hindus, foreigners, low caste people are not allowed to go inside. So of course I sat outside, we had a party, but even from outside, it's quite beautiful to see.
So yeah, tell me, Mayur, which was your favorite place? Because we've done several trips to Puri.
Puri's also traditionally been a place where a lot of people from the West have come because, I mean, for the Ayurveda and for the yoga and stuff. So we went to a couple of bakeries. One was called Honeybee, and then the other was called the Peace Restaurant, where they had all the muesli and chocolate pancakes, and which was like a nice change from all the traditional food we were eating. But my favorite memory of a good meal there is we went to this really small place by an open nala. You remember near the train station? It was called Dalma Puri. And it was full inside. We sat outside and all they give you is, I mean, you pay, I think, 12 rupees or 20 rupees and you get 6 hot puris and you get the dalma, which is the dal mixed with all sorts of vegetables in it. It was a traditional dish of Odisha. And then you had a giant chunk of chena poda. We sat there right outside. The smell wasn't very nice, but the food was fabulous. Simple, but delicious.
The smell wasn't nice because it was just outside the railway station or the bus stand, and there was a huge drain flowing right next to it. Like it was on the drain. but the food was brilliant. And that chena poda, man, I mean, we should all take a moment of silence to thank the people of Odisha for chena poda, because it is just the most magnificent dessert. It is chena wrapped in sal leaves, as in the tree leaves, in like a big cheese, like a wheel. And then it's aged there and then it's brought out, and it is just completely delicious. What a flavor. And you never get anywhere except in Puri. You don't get that taste anywhere else.
Prashant, what is your favorite in Puri?
Puri, I remember that restaurant that we went to, that wild grass place, it was a really beautifully laid out place, and it had, he had cabanas and a lot of greenery, and the food was pretty good. But on another show, the posh show that I used to go out on, there is actually between Puri and Bhubaneswar, it's I think it's a 2-3 hour drive, right? There's a place called Raghurajpur. It's a village of artisans. So you can go there and see the Patachitra, the traditional painting that they do on the leaf. The Patachitra means the painting on the leaf.
Paintings.
Leaf paintings. The stonework, the work on, they also make silk there in that village. So it's a nice, if you want to just break journey, it's a good place to stop, just soak in. And you can just walk into people's homes, you can see the artisan working. It's set up as a tourist thing only, yeah. So but there are people. It's a village that has been adopted by the tourism department. And so the artisans allow you in and you can watch them at work. So it's a nice place to take a break.
That's something you must tell everybody. All of you listening, here's a great tip for you. If you ever want magnificent stone carvings for your magnificent farmhouses or large, sculptures made of pure stone, please go and buy them there. I saw this incredible tree of life. It was like a full tree with Radha and Krishna under it, with birds and animals and everything in it, about 6 feet wide and about 6 feet high. And it was for 20,000 rupees only. Only the problem was that the truck ferrying it would charge another 15,000 rupees, I think. And it could not be kept in my house, which is not on the ground floor. So they said, it's 2 tons, so it'll break through your balcony and go down to the people's house below.
Yeah, the workmanship is excellent.
The workmanship is brilliant.
We just walk into people's houses. But, okay, coming back to Puri, which was the place I really liked the food there, where we were sitting like on these tree, it was above the ground on trees, like he'd made these tables and these places.
That was the same place that Prashant was talking about.
That was the wild grass. His tagline was Odishan by birth, Punjabi by passion, seafood by nature, Bengali by demand.
Perfect.
That was his tagline. And he had all these little huts, tons of flies, and he had fantastic food. I remember he had these fritters that he'd made.
Banana
pumpkin. No, it was pumpkin flowers. Pumpkin flowers with chickpea batter and made into pakoras and given. And he had dahi banguna.
And the dahi bangun we had there was absolutely the top of the line.
Oh man, it was amazing dahi bangun. Yeah, I remember that dahi bangun. I bloody binged on the dahi bangun.
Kakharu phula bhaja. That was the pumpkin flower.
Yeah, that was what it was.
Now, was that place which served awesome mutton curry and rice also in Puri, or am I mixing up as usual some other place in Bhubaneswar with this?
Most places in Odisha you can get mutton curry and rice. Mutton is their favorite meat. They do that kasa, which is fried.
Yeah. The one that you're freaking out over, Niku, was called the Bidesh Ghar Hotel. Okay. The Bidesh Ghar was like Bengali and Odia food. It's in a place called Swargadwar in Puri, which is not too far from the temple as far as I remember. It could be wrong. And there we had that amazing aloo posto. We had the badi chura. You guys don't remember badi chura, man? It was incredible. This crunchy rice flour with chilies and all that. Then there was the prawn curry, which was incredible. That was Bengali, the chinguri march. There was masala pomfret and prawns and mutton. And our friends Danny and Guru had taken us there. I remember them. They were fans of the show and they had called us there. And you went mad eating mutton and rice here. There was I think you ate 4 plates or something, man.
Yeah, man. I loved the mutton rice there. It was so good. That was a revelation to me. I was like, dude, Odia mutton rocks.
Odia mutton is because they love mutton in Odisha for some reason. And that is their favorite dish. And they make it with the mustard oil, not with regular oil. And like Bengal, they like to put potatoes in it sometimes. But it is if you make mutton with the mustard oil, the game changes. It's beautiful. Even if you make Punjabi style mutton with mustard oil, it'll become like a beautiful Odia mutton. Yeah. But obviously not as specific. The taste won't be like that. It'll be different, but it is just brilliant.
Yeah. So this place was right by the beach. We did a sequence sitting on a camel or a dromedary, as I was told last time.
Yes.
We rode on a dromedary on the beach. It had all these colorful tassels and all. Then we got off and we went for lunch to this place.
Also, this breakfast place that we had gone to, which I remember, I mean, he had, it was a nice change because, it was the kind of stuff that you want sometimes. And he had Greek yogurt, he had, his own muesli, he had his own granola. Yeah, it was one of the fancy places. Honeybee Bakery.
Yeah.
With fresh fruit and all on the side.
Yeah, because you get a lot of foreigners from all over the world, especially Europeans and Americans, who come into Puri and they come there to learn yoga and you come there to do Ayurveda and stuff like that. And in fact, Mayur was telling us about that German guy who claimed that Ayurveda had cured him of final stages of cancer, and he was walking around with a file in his hand to show everybody. But the guy we went to, I think one of these places, the guy was married to he had a Japanese wife, and they would serve beautiful vegetarian food, and it was. So they have these places which are like totally designed for Europeans to hang out in the evening. Mostly vegetarian food, of course, but just really nice, relaxed, shanti sort of places where you can chill and have your if you so desire.
So now we shall take you to Sun Temple at Konark. I remember it was a shoot which I was really looking forward to because I'd heard so much about the Sun Temple at Konark. It is one of the most exquisite places in the world, and it is beautiful. I was a little disappointed how badly it's maintained, especially, I think like when you're used to seeing how they maintain like Qutub Minar and all these places in Delhi, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't better maintained because it is exquisite. And we wanted to get the sunrise shot because we were told like the sunrise shot of the Sun Temple because there's some geometric kuch na kuch hota hai. And hum wahan before sunrise pahunch gaye. और बेचारे Rocky and Mayur सुबह 3 बजे उठ के नहाए धोए. They started looking pretty, which took a while. And we got there and we were waiting. Sun rose, and as soon as the sun came over the horizon, suddenly clouds covered it. Remember? मैंने अपना सर पीट लिया. So much. And I couldn't come again for the 24 hours and wait for that shot again. So we got the Sun Temple sunrise with clouds in front. So that was that.
Yeah. It used to be called the Black Pagoda by sailors in the past because you could see it from the ocean and it would look out. But in our time also, it became the Black Pagoda. We didn't get any nice visuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the legend used to be that there used to be a lodestone inside a gigantic magnet that used to disrupt sailors' compasses, and they would get lost and they wouldn't know where to go. So they came in, they broke it down, the Portuguese. Now, at least that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
I think one of the shopkeepers there was only telling us that the magnet there used to be so powerful that it would pull the ships because they had so much metal in them. They would veer off course because the magnet would pull it. But then another person said no magnet can be that powerful that can pull a ship like miles into the sea. So
imagine if you had braces and you were walking around, you'd get sucked up to the magnet and slammed to the side of it. Talk about something believable.
Listen, please, guys, थोड़ा serious हो जाओ. Anything is possible in our country. हमने 50,000 साल पहले in the time of Ganesha अगर full body transplant full head transplant कर रखा है, तो एक magnetic क्या मुश्किल है? A magnet that can attract everything. We had a magnet that could pull spaceships out of the sky because we sent spaceships up in the 9th century.
Yeah.
And then you had to bring them back. So only the magnet could bring them back.
Yeah, one can only hope that we had a little bit more common sense and we would have transplanted a human head or a human body.
Yeah.
But that one we messed up on. But otherwise we were really advanced.
But listen, if you're done with your speculation about the magnet and all that, the fact is that it has a certain geometric ratio proportion to that whole temple because the first rays of the sun go right inside the inner sanctum sanctorum, which is very unique because in the first rays of the sun hit the sanctum sanctorum.
It's the chariot of the sun. The temple is a chariot of the sun, and it is exquisitely built, and it has some wonderful insights into astrology and into astronomy. You can't take that away from it, but I will still not say that they knew how to transplant heads and send spaceships into space, but it is very possible.
Well, you also have the atom bomb, but you've forgotten that.
There you go.
Yeah.
अच्छा चलो यार भूख लग रही है कहीं खाना खाने चलते हैं.
तो ठीक है वहां पर तो कुछ खाना खाने को था नहीं क्योंकि after the Sun Temple we did not get the sunrise shot.
हमने धोखा खाया
धोखा खा के आ गए हम. We came back to Bhubaneswar. Now Bhubaneswar has a lot of really good food. The only thing is that we went to Bhubaneswar during that 7-year patch about I think 3 or 4 times. And at each time I went there were roads being constructed. So I don't know who was the contractor who did not finish from the first time when there was the last time. But I do remember we went to some really good food places. So boys, why don't you start? Prashant, you start from your favorite place that you remember, and then the big men can share also.
Actually, Bhubaneswar, I don't know, for some reason, I don't have any recollection other than this place called Dalema that we had gone to. I can't think of any other place. Maybe I was parking the vehicle all the time while you were in there eating a meal or something or the other. But, like Cuttack, I remember, Puri, I remember, but Bhubaneswar was a bit of a... I remember going to that Lingaraj temple. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, we had that dessert there, the korakhai, puffed rice, coconut, jaggery, dried fruit.
Right. You remember we walked around, they told us that all the homes in that area make that dessert. We walked around looking for it, and then finally we found one guy making it under his ancient staircase, and we bought a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But how can you not remember? Yeah, we had this beautiful evening where we went to Durga Mandap in Bhubaneswar, which was like this open food court. There were like different shops and hundreds of places, and there were these incredible pickles that this cooperative women had made, like 30 kinds of pickles, and we all bought like jars and jars of pickles.
That pickle kept us many lunches here in Delhi, Prashant. आके हम अपने घर का सड़ा हुआ खाना खाते थे with that pickle. पता नहीं बड़ा एहसान फरामोश है कितने lunches तुमने हमें बचा लिया था.
No, I think you brought that pickle for me, and I think that is a trip that I was not, because you've been there multiple times.
But Rocky, you loved Dalema. I remember तूने तो वहाँ उनके सारे owners को बुला के उनको congratulate भी किया था. But it was generally
दुर्गा मंडप खत्म करने तो उसने खत्म नहीं किया था. अभी तो बहुत चीजें हैं दुर्गा मंडप में.
और क्या है?
अभी pickles नहीं खत्म हुए. रॉकी भैया बोलो.
The pickles were absolutely brilliant. I remember that, and there were also these plastic toys that we were playing with over there and hitting people with spitballs.
Excuse me, sir. Family show है. ये सब चीजें हम नहीं बोलते. We don't want to know about your plastic toys. But listen, you're forgetting. He had this. I think it was called the Bengal Pickle Shop or something. And they had this whole range. He said कि मेरे पास ऐसे pickles हैं. He had jackfruit pickle. He had cherry pickle. He even had alive pickle, ALIV pickle. Then we asked him, ये क्या होता है? And then he gave it to us. It was olives. He said they were being grown in Assam.
Really?
Yeah, he had olive pickles.
But Mayur and I went back to Odisha last year for the hockey
World Cup.
And they had this food festival in Bhubaneswar, and I have to tell you, it was just magnificent. The enthusiasm that the Odias have for their food, and just the sheer variety of food that they serve at places like this food festival is mind-boggling. So if you ever get a chance, mark it on your calendar. The Bhubaneswar Food Festival is worth going to. It is just brilliant. And we went, and this guy was performing there. What's his name? Farhan Akhtar was singing that evening, and Mayur and I were shooting there that evening. So it was like a night of stars upon the earth. Of course, only one was glowing. The other two were stuffing their faces in the back.
The market, the Durga Mandap, we also went and tried this thing called the Lingaraj Lassi. Do you remember? In the big bottles with that pink lassi in it.
Yeah.
He was putting like milk and khoya and dried fruit. He basically found everything sweet and over 1,000 calories per teaspoon. And he stuck it all in one thing and mixed it with milk and khoya, and it was Lingaraj Lassi.
People were lining up to buy it here. There were like lines and lines of people there.
He was like pouring it really quickly.
I think he came from the Palwal school of cooking.
Yeah.
No, but listen, you guys, how can you forget the Odisha hotel, yeah? The one in Shahid Nagar. I remember it still because, I mean, there were these like amazing badi chura. There was the ambo khatta, that's that chutney, the chinguri chutney with prawns. The dalema, of course, was brilliant. The mutton was mind-boggling. There was the khasir bangsho, aloo jhol, I mean, machurali, macho besar. Just really good food here.
I remember we had a very good breakfast somewhere in Bhubaneswar, traditional breakfast. I don't know if it was here or wherever else it was. But now if we can quickly, we have 2 places to cover. Then we have Cuttack and so many other places to go to. Tell me about this dalma. I remember it was quite a fancy restaurant, man. It had great presentation.
Dalma is basically the way the Odias make their dal, which is they take the dal and they put lots of vegetables and stuff. It's really hearty, really healthy dal. And they have a restaurant chain called Dalma that had just started with their second restaurant, I think, when we went there. And they were really involved and the food was brilliant. Again, sadly, we went back again about a year or so ago. And the food has declined a lot, at least in the branch that we went to. Okay. But Dalma itself is brilliant. The restaurant chain may or may not be anymore. But
Yeah,
that time it was superb.
Yeah, I remember it was a restaurant named after a dish. But that's
Correct.
like a staple, I think, from Korea.
Yeah. And they had that wild mushroom curry. I mean, most of the food, again, the really good food, there was your prawn and fish curry and all. But that this wild mushroom curry, which is like really, really nice. And Odisha again is it sort of caters to everything. You get fabulous seafood, you get amazing mutton, but you also get a huge range of vegetarian food and for really, really affordable prices here.
Yeah,
Must be one of the cheaper places to eat at. This to get like a full thali or a full meal. I mean, I remember we went somewhere where like Rocky's mutton thali was 80 rupees and my veg thali was like 40 rupees and they kept filling it up also.
Yeah, and in those metallic katoris, you could pick up more. I remember that
Right.
place. And
Correct.
it was in Bhubaneswar that we went to that, where the fans took us. They had started a restaurant of their own, right? That was also Bhubaneswar only.
Yeah, there was a fan called Saigita Swain. She took us to this place called Pathik Hotel, a small hotel, and there was a young girl and the father had started it, but the young girl and the mother and the brother then ran the place now.
Yeah, that was good. Good local food. It was right next to Rupali Chowk. I remember that.
Correct. I remember you saying I like this name.
Yeah. So, Odia, plus what I really like about Odisha is the people here. I mean, the people are just they're very gentle, beautiful, wonderful, welcoming, warm people. I mean, yeah, religion does make them a little crazy every now and then. But if you take that out of the equation, mostly they're just really nice people there. And on the streets, while walking, up in places, you can go and meet them and talk to them. There's this beautiful 2 hilltops where you have, cave systems where houses are cut into caves, and they've been like that for maybe many centuries ago. So there's a lot to see and a lot to do there, and it's quite beautiful. Take your camera when you go to Bhubaneswar. You'll get some amazing shots, and go there during the food festival and thank me. Very important.
I remember in Bhubaneswar, we were having one breakfast sequence and there was really friendly bunch of people on the next table. I think one of them was a lawyer because he was wearing this black coat.
I think that was Katak. We went to find Dahi Balla Alur Dam Gugni. That was Katak. That's okay, Niku. It's pretty good. At least you got the state right.
At least I got the state right for a change.
Get the city right.
I remember he was making a joke, and I didn't, because it was so heavily accented Hindi. I couldn't understand what his punchline was, so I kept a straight face. And then he again repeated the punchline, and I still didn't understand it. But then he just laughed, saying that now you have to laugh. So then I laughed. It was a very cute bunch of guys. I remember that sequence. But yeah, so that was Bhubaneswar. So where do you want to steer the car to now, Prashant Sareen? Okay, why don't you hold that thought? Think about Prashant. I'll come to you where you want to steer the car. I'll just read out these 2 emails from our wonderful hompers wanting to subscribe to our newsletter. Guys, I'll just remind you, this is an endeavor to take you to the highway when you can't get to the highway. So we will bring the highway to you through Highway on My podcast. Hopefully, once this lockdown and this horrible pandemic crisis is over, you guys will head out, as will we. We want Rocky, Mayur, Prashant to hit the road again. And by the time this pandemic is over, if we can build a community of people who want this show back in some new avatar, driving across the country, where we'll stop at places so we can have a little get together with you guys who will also become part of this entire enterprise, do write into us. Wherever you listen to this podcast, there's a link. If you click on that link, you will get a form that you can fill and you will subscribe to the newsletter, and you can write with your feedback to homp2020@gmail.com. I repeat, homp2020@gmail.com. Meanwhile, 2 young hompers have written these emails. One is Aniket. Hi guys, I've been living in the United States since last year. I just started listening to your podcast and I love it. It's fantastic. I feel both happy and sad while listening to it. Sad because I haven't had a fraction of food and experiences that you guys talk about, and happy because it fills my heart with so much admiration and pride to know that our country has so much to offer and you just have to look for it. I can't wait to see you guys back on the road once this pandemic is over. Even I will start exploring once I come back to India. I would like to subscribe to the newsletter too. Thanks, Aniket. Hey, Aniket, hang in there in the US, bro. As long as you're there, we shall keep refreshing your memories of home. And once we are back on the road and this pandemic is over, let's get these fat fools back out there, man. They're becoming unfit.
So Aniket, the good news is that it's never too late to travel. But the bad news is it just might be now.
Aniket, don't listen to these jokers. India is a timeless, ageless land. Many cruel leaders and wannabe rulers have come and gone. Many diseases have come and threatened and run away. India is eternal. It will remain eternal. Our food, our bonhomie, our togetherness, our love, our culture, our music, our languages, our dances.
And our herd immunity.
And herd immunity. And above all, our incredible food anchors shall remain immortal forever. Just come anytime, buddy. Come. And we'll go and party it up here. So don't worry about India. Any of you over there, India is bigger than all these things put together.
You have any message for Aniket, Mayonnaise?
I think I love you.
Oh no. He's not coming back.
And again, thanks for writing. And yes, I completely agree with Rocky. Sooner than later, all this stuff is going to go away. And then it'll be time for you to come and use our books or use the show or use the podcast or just ask your way around India and eat some fabulous food.
So you may have an experience like we had. I think this was in Kerala. It said, "Uncle, where is so-and-so place?" Go straight, right.
Straight. Then you go left.
So then Prashant says, "Hey,
for the worst directions is Gujarat." You ask them for directions, the guy points to the left and says right. So you're confused. Right down or left down.
The best is Punjab. Whoever you ask, they're like, "Oh, ji, main baith jata hu, sab naal mein chalanga, main tod दूंगा."
मैंने भी बैठा लो, मैं उठे ही जा रहा हूं. So Prasad writes, "Hey Home team, I'm a big fan of your show and I've watched every episode. For many other food and travel shows, I would always read unaffordable in the subtitles of my mind. I'm already a subscriber of Newslaundry and like the idea of when the public pays, the public is served." Yo, Prasad, we believe the same thing. First question, I'm in love with the Himalayas, so please suggest specific places in the Himalayas that you guys love the most. 2, my next question is for Mayur. Which is your favorite trek in the Himalayas? Would be great if you could categorize it to beginner, medium, and advanced. Waiting for the new season of Home. Prasad, I can't promise about the new season of Home. It may happen, but we will get a new show and we will come up with the name together. I vote for Rocky and Mayur ride again. And but anyway, whenever that happens, The questions. Himalayas, guys, please take his questions. Recommend some places that he can go visit in the Himalayas. And Mayur, easy, medium, difficult, advanced level treks. So suggestions, gentlemen?
Easy enough. The highway on my plate. Is it Home Hills or Home Coast to Coast that is available on Amazon Prime right now?
Hills.
So you can actually just go on Amazon Prime, or you can watch it on My Good Times. Highway on my plate, Coast to Coast, and Highway on my plate, Hills will take you on journeys with us all across Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. I think those were the 2 that we covered in the first season with some fabulous food and fabulous stories. And treks, my favorite one is a bit of an advanced trek. It's called the Panpatia Kol trek. It's in the Garhwal Himalayas and it connects Kedarnath and Badrinath. It's a 5,000 meter plus pass. That's one of the ones that I've done and I really, really enjoyed because we literally saw nobody except our trekking team in the 18, 19 days that we were there.
Yeah, so in that same general area, it's called the Odden's Call trek.
Yeah.
And that's also about 5,600 odd meters.
That's beginner, medium, or advanced?
That is
but listen, if you want to take some beautiful walks,
very steep.
In season, there is a lovely walk to the Hemkund Sahib, to the Gurdwara. You have some beautiful flower fields and some lovely areas that you can walk through. And if you really want some incredible photographs and you want a really challenging trek, in off-season, go down to Roopkund where you have clusters of skulls under and above water, like up to 5,000 skeletons just lying around of, nobody really knows because of what. But what a hell of a trek that is in Uttarakhand. Yeah. So look at Roopkund, see the images, go in the winter. It's a tiny little lake, but it is absolutely terrifying on a full moon night. And then, when we were kids and we used to go there, nobody went there. I mean, nobody used to go there for years. So when we used to go there used to be a story about Parikund, and that used to be that if you go close to it, fairies will call you, and as you look into the water, you'll see skulls, and then the fairies will pull you in, and then your skull will be put up over there. So it's quite a lovely place to go to, and if your skull is put up there, we'll come and visit you every few years. So,
Bring some hot chai.
Yeah, we'll bring some tea for you. But these are just lovely stories that you get all over India, but that's a nice trek. But the Hemkund Sahib trek is actually very beautiful, and it's not radically difficult for somebody who's got a basic idea of trekking and walking in the mountains.
If you have good legs, yeah. But I think this Odden's Call trek is also really beautiful because I always thought of Garhwal as, these denuded hills, brown hills, no tree, no vegetation and all. Yeah. But when you go deep into Garhwal, my God, it is so beautiful and alpine. I mean, I can share some pictures with you, Niku, which you can send to the trekker, because it is so beautiful. It is really unbelievable. It is very challenging, that trek, the Odden's Call trek. But at the same time, you see forests, you see mixed forests, you see meadows, you see, complete ice fields, snow, and you come back down, you walk on a glacier, you have crevices all around you. It's a fascinating trek because you see so many different terrains in those 8-9 days.
So Prashant has volunteered one of those photographs. He'll include one of the photographs of this trek onto the newsletter. But the one that Rocky mentions is actually the one that Prashant and Mayur go to. They're slightly advanced. You have to take your own tent, shed and all along. But if you want to go for like a trek where you don't have to carry all your stuff, but you'll have places to stay, what Rocky mentioned, the Hemkund Sahib, because you can see a lot else there. You can see Valley of Flowers. You can also head off to Gaumukh. And of course, now the glacier has retreated 13 kilometers from the time I went. But there you can see a lot of places of interest. It's not like just a trek. Like you can go visit like the mouth of a river. You can go visit Hemkund Sahib. You can go visit Valley of Flowers. And it's a very basic beginner level trek. So yeah, those are the options. So Prashant, now tell us, where were you driving to, man, before we took the break towards the letters?
I think Cuttack. And I remember the way we got into Cuttack because we'd left Nagpur that morning and it was a very long drive, along, I don't know which highway, but we traversed that entire stretch from Nagpur to Cuttack and we reached Cuttack late at night, having passed through some pretty scary places in retrospect, places like Dantewada and these jungles and the blood moon that we saw on the on the way.
That was on this drive.
It was all on this drive, on our drive to Cuttack from Nagpur. And we reached Cuttack really late and we had some trouble finding a hotel. And next day we were there for like one complete day or maybe 2 nights. And I remember going to this stadium, this cricket stadium, somewhere near this cricket stadium where
Barabati Stadium,
Barabati Stadium, and which had these carts with what were they selling? I don't know.
Aloo dum.
Dahi vada dum aloo gugni.
Right, it was some dahi and what vada, like the
Dahi vada aloo dum gugni.
Yeah, that's the traditional street food that all Odias love, and it's got the dahi vada, and then they take the aloos and then they deep fry them with spices, and then they have boiled chickpeas, and then they mix it all together with dahi, and then they put all the masalas on top. It's delicious.
Right. So
it's a nice snack.
Yeah, and then from there, we had gone on to this other place, very busy market. It was, I think, a sweet shop or something that we had gone to. I mean, this was like our second breakfast before we hit the highway towards Bhubaneswar, and we had chena poda on the way.
Yeah, that's the Gorang Sahu sweet stall. I think that's where Niku, that's where that lawyer was there.
Oh, the lawyer story was from there. Okay.
It was in the morning, and they like he had all that, the traditional Odia stuff, but he also had chola bhaturas and dosas and stuff. And most of the Odia people in there were eating chola bhaturas. We were the only ones eating the chena poda and the dahi balla.
And the tea was also really nice. I remember the tea was really fantastic there.
The place I remember though, we went to have these snacks here. We'd heard about these chops in Cuttack, these famous chops. And when we went there, basically what they do is they take a chop, they chop it into small pieces, and they put each piece in a aloo ka mix, and they give you like a aloo ka chop. The chop is inside the aloo. So it's like a poor man's chop. It is quite tasty. I mean, if you fry meat and fry potatoes, you end up with a genius dish. There's not really much to say over there, but
Kalia Chop Center, Professor Pada. It was Professor Pada. It was suggested to us by some fans, and then they came and they stood and they ate with us.
Yeah, and that we also went to look for that Thumka Puri there. That apparently only get in season. But you remember that?
The chop that you're talking about, what is the masala that they had on that chop?
They're like little meats with, right? They've got mashed potato. There's a batter that is covered over it. And it's got like these really solid chilies, and it's very, very hot here. I mean, spicy wise.
Are you calling us for dinner and feeding us poor man's chops?
Yeah. I will give you. What else now? Now that I know your passion lies in garbage view and chops, I'll ensure you get the best of both worlds. Before we leave Cuttack, we must talk about Hotel Royal. Yeah, we had heard so much about the best biryani in Cuttack. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Mohammad Rafi Saab.
Yeah, and we went down over there, and it was quite a disappointing biryani. I mean, the biryani wasn't that good, frankly. It was nice, but it wasn't like compete class. It wasn't competitive biryani.
Maybe that's why you don't go overseas and say, have you heard of Odia biryani? Because that's why I hear of Dindigal, Hyderabadi or Lucknowi. No one ever says Kataki biryani.
Yeah, but if you had to come up with like the best in the world fighting food that Odisha can put up, the mutton would be right there. The prawns would be right up there. The badi chura, dahi bengun would be right up there. the chena poda would be right up there. Yeah, I mean, there's some incredible food in Odisha.
But the strange thing is, and it's very disappointing that somehow Orissa, even though it has a very unique cuisine and it has some really nice dishes and unique way of cooking those things, like chena poda is actually a genius way of cooking stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't done justice. They haven't really done justice to their cuisine. They haven't really put it out on the world stage. It's, I mean, like a butter chicken for all intent and purposes, better known all over the country than chena poda, which seems like an abomination, frankly.
Yeah, the chena pod, you're talking about the special way it's made, like Rocky was mentioning earlier. They wrap it up in the leaves of the sal and then they cook it. They smoke it over a charcoal fire.
Right.
It gets that nice, it bakes within the moist confines of that leaf, so it gets that taste. And then it's like what? How would you describe it to somebody who's never eaten it? Something between a milk
It's a
cake
cheesecake,
and...
yeah. It's like
it is. It would be the Indian cheesecake. And they serve with those giant wheels here.
Yeah.
It's very nice how you can just go and cut and buy it by weight. Yeah. And we had it all across the state. And not one place was it disappointing. It's very soul satisfying, that texture, that taste.
I mean, I can't think of one place in Delhi or Mumbai for that matter, which would give you chena poda. I mean, why can't it be done here?
Yeah, apparently it's the hawa pani which you don't get. Yeah, but going back to that biryani in Cuttack, I mean, some things are just disappointing. Yeah. So let's get out of Cuttack. Where are we going next?
When we were coming into Cuttack, you had some fantastic food. We stopped at that. Literally, it was a shack right by the highway on the edge of the field. It was called the Nonna Hotel. Nonna meaning little brother. Then we were making all those jokes about like now the big brothers have come to eat. And that's why we had like the veg thali for 40 rupees and Rocky had the mutton thali for 80 rupees. It looked out onto these fields. Very, very basic place, but very, very good food. Yeah. They had fantastic badi chura there also.
I'm getting old. Half the places I don't even remember now. Yeah.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah, and how can you not, Niku? Come on, you remember the Nona Hotel? Yeah, it was at Phulna Khara on National Highway 5, man. It was like lunch and late evening dinner. We had the mutton curry there. We gave it an 8 on 10. There was this aloo bharta.
I know. I've got a picture of that. It was
mixed
a very
tarkari. You had dalma. We had ambo khata.
Yeah, it was a very nicely set up place. They had these, with mud ka lap on the walls and
exactly
a lot of greenery and overlooking the paddy fields and all. Yeah, got nice pictures of that place actually, and of National Highway 5 and the paddy fields along National Highway 5.
In Odisha, the thing to do is just look around. The cliche works best for Odisha. If you have huge crowd outside someplace, there is great food being sold over there. Or there is worship of God going. If you walk inside, don't hear bells, that means there's food. So you go. If you hear the bells, turn around, go back.
So also on the way out of Cuttack is this stretch that Mayur is talking about. They're like maybe 50 to 100 these shops. And that is what is Pahala, right? For the Rasgulla shops in the highway.
Yeah, Pahal.
Yeah, I thought it was closer to Bhubaneswar. So when we drove out of Bhubaneswar, you get Pahal first and then Cuttack.
Maybe I could have
I think
mixed up.
Bhubaneswar and Cuttack are only about 20-25 kilometers apart.
Correct. So
Pahal is just short of, Pahal is about a few kilometers short of Cuttack. Yeah, it's right there near Cuttack.
Yeah.
So it's close to Cuttack.
It's famous because, there is 2 big highways crossing each other, and on all 4 roads, in every direction on either side of the road, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of Rasgulla shops. They're all selling Rasgullas. I mean, there are more shops there than people there. It's quite incredible to see.
Yeah, remember those big tubs? Just those giant tubs with sugar syrup and all the Rasgullas, resting in them. And then the giant wheels of chena poda, chena gaja.
Oh, man, that was so lovely. Yeah.
When I saw that place, the thing that struck me was that unlike many of the highways in parts of the north and Punjab, Haryana, closer to here, or even parts of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, which are very busy highways, here the highway is not that busy. There are these bloody dozens and dozens and scores of shops. Each of them have big buckets of chena poda and chena poda, whatever puda, choda. They can't possibly finishing that in one day. Yeah. That must be pata nahi kitne din purana, no?
But listen, when you soak something in sugar, the Rasgullas are soaked in sugar. I mean, they'll last for a long time. Yeah. Then the other stuff is smoked and baked. So it'll last pretty long. And if it doesn't last, who cares?
Also,
You're going to-
Cuttack and Bhubaneswar, a lot of Ana Jana, yaar. I mean, it's like these are twin cities, virtually.
Correct.
So there's lots of people staying in Cuttack, going to Bhubaneswar for work, and Bhubaneswar going to Cuttack for work.
हाँ, but हर दिन कोई 50 किलो रसगुल्ले थोड़ा पैक करेगा.
No, but people typically everybody is like तीन दर्जन दे दो, 5 दर्जन, like 36 rasgullas, 60 rasgullas. People are packing them and taking them, and I mean, they're little rasgullas. We ate about 20 each. Yeah, they were quite nice. So
Nice
easy
and
to
soft.
eat.
We had those big ones also. Those big fucking oversized gullas. What are those?
Yeah.
Those are not chena poda. What are
No, those are rasgullas, Niku. Niku, pay attention. Chena poda is they take chena.
that I know. I was just.
Rasgulla
I don't know. We did
ground.
this whole thing that all those mithais here sound like WWF wrestlers. Now coming to the ring to take on Mighty Undertaker is Chena Poda. So yeah, they had all Pahalwan type names.
Yeah, but the rasgulla. Odisha is the only state that has a Rasgulla Divas. They actually celebrate it as part of the whole Puri, the Jagannath. Apparently, when Lord Jagannath returns to his temple, he gives his consort like rasgullas to say sorry because he's been away with the family and hanging out.
Yeah, and listen, these funny names. Yeah, I remember that we had done one show in Gujarat where I was talking about how the names of Gujarati food are like Gunda names. Yeah, like Fafda, agar ringda aur thepla ko zinda dekhna hai to kal baal leke pahunch jana. And so we were doing this joke, and then about 2 years later, I saw it in a movie in 3 Idiots. So I was like, "Wow,
Oh really?
yeah, it was pretty
Idiot की
cool."
line तीनों idiots ने ले ली.
हाँ, कोई भी ले यार.
Now we know who the 3 idiots are. हम यहाँ बैठ के podcast कर रहे हैं. और वो वहाँ film बना चुके. But Mayur, you have mentioned Balasore Bhojan restaurant. Please remind my rusty brain which place this was and why does it have a vanishing sea at low tide?
Yeah,
And what
this
were
was when we
Parsis?
were doing our coast to coast thing, and we were passing through there. And there is one place there where the sea, the tide, when it recedes, it goes out for like 10-15 kilometers. Yeah. And then we went there and we were shooting for some camera thing, and so we were like pretending to surf there, and then we
Put it down there, yes.
yeah,
That
we
ugly
sketched in
product
the surfboard and
never took
all
off.
on the camera phone. It was a Samsung Galaxy camera phone or something. And then out in the middle of nowhere, they had this beautiful restaurant, family run, the only known Parsi or Irani family in the state. But they were making Odia food and like serving Odia food, really nice food. And we declared it had the cleanest bathrooms ever that we'd seen in home.
Even after you went?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, listen,
So-
and while we're on the subject here, anybody can make any movie and make any money, but who has the good fortune of taking his friends and traveling all over the country, eating
True,
food
man.
and laughing with
That's true.
mirth and joyous company and love and laughter? Soon as I find good friends, I will let you know when I did it. But till then, I'll have to till then I'll have to adjust with going with you guys, which was also fun sometimes.
We'll do a cheap show with
So-
you.
Yeah.
From there to Odisha is also home to where the olive ridley turtle lays its eggs.
Yeah. Rushi Kurlia Beach. Yeah. Rushi Kurlia is world famous. Once upon a time, wildlife in India used to be an absolutely earth-shattering phenomenon. Yeah. And Rushi Kurlia is such an example in Odisha. Olive ridley turtles would come out, almost like 500,000 of them and lay their eggs along the beaches of Odisha. And Rushi Kurlia is unique in the sense that you have a beach and then you have about 100 yards of water and then you have a long sandbank which is about 4-5 kilometers long and about 50 yards wide and maybe 100 yards wide, and the turtles would come out and just lay, and nothing can get to the sandbank because it's in the middle of the ocean with strong tide in the middle, so no dogs, no cats, nothing can reach there. And these thousands upon thousands upon thousands of turtles come to lay their eggs. And we went there in the morning, and I still remember one of the boat guys had a diver's mask. And I put it on my face and I looked down and there was wall-to-wall turtles on the ground there. The entire bottom of the ocean was covered in 3 or 4 layers of turtles sitting on top of each other. And continuously they're coming up to breathe. And as soon as it became dark, they would climb up onto the beach and lay their eggs and then go away on their travels again. What an incredible sight that was here.
But you'll be thrilled to know, after a few years, there were scares because of the over-tourism of that area. These turtles had stopped coming. I just read a piece, I think, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, this year.
Lockdown, they've
Yeah.
come in record numbers क्योंकि साला कोई है ही नहीं कोविड के कारण.
Yeah.
Turtles को तो सांस लेने का मौका मिला.
2.5 million They've got 2.5 million eggs this year, and about 1 out of 50 turtles will survive in the hatching. So we've got a brand new breed of stock of turtles getting out into the ocean. It's very beautiful. There's some very nice videos of the little hatchlings going into the water. I read that report also.
Yeah.
When do they hatch? Which month?
Now they're going in now.
They hatch.
Yeah.
So from there, Mayur, where do you want to take us next? You've lifted a place called Pipli. There's a Pipli in pretty much every
Yeah,
state.
how can you forget your favorite, Niku? You did. I have this only time your political savvy has been of some use to us.
Yeah.
When we got out of there, there was a tree across the road, and there was a blockage, and there was Netaji sitting on a chair surrounded by 100 of his goons who was setting fire to cars and all.
That was Odisha.
That was Odisha, yes.
That was Odisha, just outside Rishikulia. Yeah.
This is on coast to coast.
Yeah.
He had blocked the road. He said, we will not let anyone go. So then I got off and said, comrade, together. And we discussed some politics, and they said, chalo, ye gada kaam to aaya. And then I said, but what was the point of you blocking our way? We have cameras. We will take your word to Delhi. Then he pulled out the cameras. We did one little shoot.
We did some naras. We took photos of them.
We did some nara bajaying, and he said, okay, you guys can pass.
Yeah, and we put it in the show also, yeah?
Yeah, we put it in the show. That's right. Oh, I have pictures of right. That was Odisha. That was fun.
I was so happy to see all of us communists looking after each other. These days, if you question the government or anything, you are an anti-national. And if you have a valid point of view with proof, you're a communist. And if you've got a video and tangible proof written and signed by the person across, then you're a liar.
Or you're dead.
Or that could be. I mean,
Yeah,
they haven't killed anybody I know yet. So.
And then there was the quintessential Punjabi hotel in Odisha. I was like, what is this?
Oh God, yeah.
In Ramba.
Ramba is the name of the dhaba or the place?
No, Ramba was, even when we were shooting, first we thought it was the Ramba Dhaba. Then we figured out that the place was Ramba, and it was Bira Dhaba, owned by a Sardarji with a large Sardarji with a big beard. Lots of trucks parked outside and stuff. And then again, there we met fans. And one of the fans was a doctor, and he said, like, please, can I take photographs? Because all my female colleagues, the doctors in my hospital, they're all very big fans of Rocky. They think he's very good looking. So can we take photographs? And then we had lunch with them, and we had competition to see who could eat more rotis. Rocky was wearing his leopard printed shirt, and he insisted on being called Cheetah. And he's like, you don't have to call me Cheetah. You're my friends. You can call me Cheete.
Yeah, because those days I remember this Punjabi song called "Opa pe pyar karke, Opa pe pyar karke pachitaya" had come out, and I was singing that song, and that's when Niku and I decided to have a race down the road to see if I could catch him, and that's when I got the nickname Cheete for almost being able to catch him, not quite.
That was the day you had matched your cheetah stripes shirt and your leopard stripe undergarments. It was
Cheetahs are spotted, not striped. You fool.
I thought I spotted your cheetah.
Excuse me, but what has this got to do with Odisha? By the way,
what the hell?
By the way, Odisha has very deep links with the Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. And the lion is their emblem, right?
Yeah.
The lion is the emblem of...
it's on top of all the temples and all.
Of Odisha also. Odias.
Sri Lankan flag also has a lion on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, even in Konark, you have the elephant and the lion. Those are like the driving forces here.
But this thought just came to me because you were talking about leopards and cheetahs. So
it's true. It's true.
Another cat into the mix.
Let's throw another cat.
Stories, just throw them in now.
Yes, because traditionally, sir, you see in Odisha, lion stories are always very popular.
So, boys, you want to give any other shout outs to Odisha before we wind up and promise our wonderful listeners to be back with another episode? And I propose you go to Sikkim in the next episode. But that was a wonderful, wonderful shoot.
You people always do episodes where I haven't been.
Which one are we doing next?
Sikkim. Let's do Sikkim next.
Lovely.
I remember there's this lovely sequence of photographs. I think Rocky probably had too much time on his hands. Rocky, I have from one prayer meeting about 100 photographs clicked by you.
Yeah.
Oh, at that Rumtek monastery.
That was such a nice place here. I mean, I followed our camera guy that day, and he was lying down next to the monks walking taking photos upwards. So I was doing whatever he was doing. I got some really nice
lovely.
photos.
So now we know what a monk wears under their robe, thanks to Rocky.
No,
Where
the
was
robes are
that?
long, yeah.
Where was that?
Rumtek Monastery, Sikkim.
Okay, so we'll go to Sikkim next. It was beautiful. It was stunning. On that note, before we give you the food court, I have a request for all of you. I know it's horrible, difficult times, but remember there are people in cities and towns and villages and highways who are starving, labor that's migrating back. If you can help it, if you can work with any organization around, do, and make sure no one in your city or your neighborhood in your vicinity starves to death if you can help it. We have an article up on Newslaundry that what our NGOs are doing to feed the people. See if you can get associated with any of those organizations if they're from your city, because we have profiled them from across cities. And if on your own you can find any, do get involved, contribute in some way. So that those of us who are more privileged and have full refrigerators and full bellies, don't forget those who don't. On that note, I could also please request you, whatever podcast platform you listen to us on, give us a high rating or a favorable review. It makes it easier or more likely for others to find us. And if more people find us, then the likelihood of this community becoming bigger and bigger makes it highly possible for Rocky and Mayur and Prashant to hit the road again when this pandemic is over. Get me the food court, man. What do you got from me from Odia? Yo, who wants to go first?
When you're traveling in Odisha, make it large. Don't live life like it's piddly. No matter what you eat and what you drink, make sure you go to see the Olive Ridley.
And if you want something sweet, you have the khaja, bhaja, and the chena poda. And if you don't like it, teri.
Naak pe ugega phoda.
Odisha is visited by everyone. So don't worry whether you're a Gora or like us, a good-looking Bhura. Just go to Odisha and enjoy the chena poda.
Wow.
Very good.
Mayur is back. Mayur is back and now.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
gentlemen.
guys,
It was lovely chatting with you. All of you out there, please keep listening in. Please keep enjoying it. Write into us at homp2020@gmail.com. Send us your views. Give us a high rating. Laugh a little, love a little, hug someone you enjoy, smile at people, and live a good life.
good night.
Good night.
Stay safe. Bye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.